Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a Brilliant Businesses podcast. My name's Nick Bryant, and I'm very pleased to be joined by Greg Thurstans, who's coming back today for another podcast. Morning, Greg.
Morning.
So Greg is Director of Football for the Elite Football Programme, and we did a podcast back, I think it was towards the end of last year, with yourself and your head of coaching, Matt Rose, who's also here, we're going to talk to, about how it started at Beechwood School in Tunbridge Wells. And I had a message from Greg a couple of weeks ago to say that it's been a resounding success, the podcast as well as the football programme, and they're now launching a school in Devon, which is really exciting. So where should we start, Greg? Should we start about how the elite programme has worked so well and that's why you're doing it in another place?
Yeah, I think, going back to reinforcing the points previously, my role was a director of sport at a massive independent school in South London, and we had massive success across sports. I felt that the emphasis was still, though, on this traditional model of teams and winning, and not necessarily focusing on the individual. And then that's when I met Matt, who obviously had a career with Arsenal and QPR and went through Arsene Wenger, and it was very much the philosophy was based on the individual and the development, and that fitted in line with my philosophies. And then we met with a company called the Alpha Group, who own numerous independent schools around the country, and we felt Beechwood was a perfect example of where we could start the development, and it's just been really exciting and been very, very well received. We're now in, I believe, our second month of actually operating, and it's just gone really well. Everything that we discussed and we envisaged is we can now physically see it, which is really exciting. And based off the back of that, we looked at a couple of schools that the Alpha Group had, and Trinity was one in Devon, and we thought it was another exciting venture. And that's how we met Ryan. Who's perfect. Who you'll find out has a really exciting background as a player and a coach, and can offer something different. I think the Tunbridge Wells model is great. It's close to London clubs, but I think Devon's going to be really exciting. There are some more, what I would say, are more attainable clubs that Ryan will probably discuss down that way, and also a very different environment. A much more relaxed environment, safe environment. I'm not saying Tunbridge Wells isn't, but I just mean it's just a different type of environment. I think that some players and students are really going to thrive in that environment.
I like the way you've taken the business model from what you've done and you're dropping it in another place. You've obviously got the experience yourself, more on the educational side, and Matt has got his, the football side, so putting those two skills together and taking them into another territory, and then instead of having Matt, you're having Ryan instead, and that's really the simplicity of it, isn't it?
I think so, and myself and Matt, our roles will change. We'll be moving more, looking at this from an overview perspective, so mine educationally across the two programmes, and Matt from a coaching perspective, ensuring that there's consistency as director of coaching. So it's more been based on demand. The demand's just been so high, internationally and regionally and locally, that we just felt there was the demand for another programme, and we thought Trinity and Ryan were the perfect fit, really, to showcase something in a different part of the country.
In a lovely part of the country as well.
Absolutely.
I looked at the website. We're going to get Ryan in shortly. I looked at the website last night, and it looks stunning. The views of the coastline and the grounds, and I think with independent schools they can offer so many more facilities as well, and it's like a good business model to use them. So let's get Ryan in. Let's have a chat with Ryan and let's hear his side of the story, because I want to hear more about how Ryan's journey's happened. So welcome, Ryan. Thank you for coming in. So I'm keen to hear your story about how you've got to where you are with your football journey. So tell us about your story.
So originally, I think I started playing football, because might as well start at the start. From 9 years old, Plymouth Argyle, all the way through till I think 17. I got into the first team, and then had a bad back injury and kind of left there. Got sold to Brentford at the age of 20. From there, went on to Southampton, which was a big club, and from there a few other clubs playing. So I think Bradford, Leyton Orient, Colchester, Crawley around this area, Yeovil and Torquay.
Okay.
So yeah, fair few football clubs in my playing days, and then from them retired. And the love of the game really, and kind of my knowledge, background in how I developed, just took a real keen interest really from playing in the coaching side and managerial side, tactical side, and it was something I really wanted to get into. So straight away jumped on my badges, B and A licence, started coaching within Plymouth's academy. Started from the bottom, so to learn the whole thing, so 10s, 13s, 16s, and then kind of figured, well, what's next? So from there, I took up the job at South Devon College and Torquay United 18s, just to get a wide range really of coaching foundation phase, youth phase, and kind of, you know, developing my skills throughout all. And I guess realising through all of that what part of coaching I like, what part I think is really valuable, and what parts can get lost in child development, player development, and through what age groups. So yeah, that was my coaching background, and then kind of come across these guys, and I guess hindsight, timing, it's just sometimes it's the luck of the draw and kind of perfect timing for me. And I think the way their model and their philosophy and, you know, their model that they've put in place here aligns with really my values of football and how I see player development, and it's kind of hand in hand, fingers crossed, will go really well.
Well, if you do as well as they have done in Tunbridge Wells, then it's going to fly, which I'm sure it will. Tell us a bit about Trinity School then. Tell us about the facilities and what you can offer there.
So the facilities, the location's absolutely outstanding.
So where is it in Devon?
So it's just up from Torquay, so it's about 10 minutes from Exeter. So it's kind of perfectly really
central
in between those two towns and cities, so right on the coast, so easy access to the airport where obviously, you know, international students can fly, and also obviously Exeter is a very cosmopolitan city, a lovely city to visit. So it's located really, really well, and obviously the benefit of being right by the sea, overlooking the water, comes in handy, and it's, you know, a very safe place. I think you kind of, you know, Devon in general, the southwest, has become extremely popular since COVID because, you know, I think a lot of people have realised the beauty and kind of, you know, that work balance type people have relocated there, and that's kind of now passed on, and it's a thriving area because of obviously the beauty and kind of what it can offer families and young people growing up. So you mentioned earlier about what you sort of finding out what you liked about coaching and what sort of thing you'd like to pass across to the youngsters about how they play their football. What are your favourite bits of it? So for me, individual player development. So I've been on a journey where I come through Plymouth, old school, very mentally. I had a Scottish manager, so everything was done based around mentality. You know, being mentally strong enough, being able to cope with the workload, to be able to cope with the demands of professional football. Then later on in my career I moved to Southampton, and you know, the knowledge and expertise there was obviously another level. We had the likes of Lallana, Luke Shaw, Schneiderlin, Jose Fonte, you know, high calibre of players coming through, Ward Prowse. And it really opened my eyes to what football really is and what I've lacked really in my player development. I was mentally tough, very athletic, but I hadn't been taught the technical aspects that they have, the real detail, the hidden gems of higher level football. And going in there, you know, at 23 I was, I had to learn what they already knew at the age of 14, so they could keep a ball better, they were technically better, their vision was better, their general knowledge in terms of modern day football was more advanced than what mine was. So I mean, there was a guy called Dean Wilkins who was an absolutely outstanding coach. Ray Wilkins was his brother.
Is that? I didn't know that.
So added huge value to me.
Must have done,
a lot of one-on-one work with me because it's what I needed at that moment in time. And I've kind of took that on into my coaching, and it isn't until you look back you think, well, they had the value they added. And then Pochettino, it was Pardew brought me in, Pochettino then come in, who's obviously a very good coach and very good manager. So that knowledge, and then obviously with Matt, you know, growing up in, I guess, from Arsene Wenger, you're very fortunate that you've got that knowledge and that experience from them, and that's what's really added value in terms of my coaching growing up, and how I see coaching, how I see player development. It can be very coach driven in terms of success game related for the coach's benefit of how they're perceived and their kind of progression and jumping up the ladder, if you like. Whereas that isn't how it should be. That isn't how you're going to develop kids, unfortunately, winning games. Obviously, it comes hand in hand. You need a winning mentality. Winning games and developing the player do work together. But it is very much, I think, game-related, game-based driven at times. And this programme especially is, outstanding in the fact that it offers probably something extraordinary, which doesn't in the area down my way, that's for sure. In developing players in a high-level knowledge, that one-on-one kind of detail they need specifically just for them to develop.
And your connections with the football clubs that you mentioned down that way, if you like, that makes your school more accessible for people from those clubs. Whereas from the London clubs, it's a long way for them to come down to Devon, isn't it? They're not going to do it. So
as such. But then I also think your borders, there's a good boarding school, boarding area for the school, and I think it offers again something a little bit different in terms of, look, there's a lot of competition in London. There's a lot of clubs to go with that, but there is a lot of competition, and that can get lost down at Plymouth and Exeter, for example. Beautiful area, loads of talented football players, two very good football clubs in terms of their youth set up, but it isn't as saturated area for football numbers, so there's that less competition. And if you can get the right coaching in the right places, it's certainly a good environment and a good catchment area for those clubs also. And then, not too far, you've obviously got your Bristol clubs, and you've got your kind of full-time semi-professional clubs in Yeovil and Torquay. So in terms of opportunity and pathways, it's a very good area.
And girls and boys? I respect girls. Ladies football is so popular, isn't it now?
Especially, I mean, it's absolutely grown. And again, in the area, it's perfect for girls football. I think it's a really good. We talked about the environment at Trinity. It's a perfect environment for girls and boys, but more so, I think, girls, because the gap for academies, obviously, boys can go from 16, they go into academy football. Girls don't, so start 16s to 18s gap, and that's where I feel as if Trinity can bridge that gap for the area in terms of the talented girls to get the extra coaching, to get that expertise of higher level coaching, which they wouldn't necessarily get, and I think that age group in girls football gets lost a little bit.
So the football programme that you're starting at Trinity, has it started or is it about to start? Or
it's getting up and running now, so it's just putting everything into place for this year. It is a very much new venture in place, but facilities that obviously the ownership group's backing the fact that it is kind of facilities are going to be of a high quality in place, and employing the right people. So it is certainly going to be an extraordinary football programme, which the school is certainly buying into.
How do you? I asked Greg this question on the last podcast, which I'm intrigued about people that have a dream of being a footballer, because I'm sure it's so many kids' dreams, isn't it? And they come to a school like yours and they work hard and they don't make it. You have support with mental health with that and things like that.
It's something that at Beechwood they've put into place. So they've got a mental performance coach, if you like, who comes in and helps. And I'm sure private school that they've got that mental health support system already in place as well, because it's a high calibre of school. So it's something which, especially around football, young kids,
isn't it?
It's a high pressured environment at times. There's a lot of expectations from parents, outside factors, what you put on yourself, social media, whatever else. So
all these dads standing on the sideline going, come on.
Exactly that. It's unfortunately it's part of the game, which is for us to educate parents at times as well. And there is certainly the mental side of child development is huge. So it is something we certainly place a high value on.
And I think with what you're doing with halving the football with the academia as well, they've got that. They're going to learn as well about just having an education, whereas some maybe back a long time ago it was just football without an education.
That's exactly it. I think that, again, that's where this works perfectly, because you're getting a high level of education alongside the football. The football alongside the education, more importantly. And look, kids not a lot of them are going to be professional footballers. I think everybody knows that, but it's how we do to get them to reach their ceiling height. So what does that look like for each different child is completely different. Yeah. And can we maximise their potential? And that's what we're here for, to make sure that no week, no month has gone by wasted. And it's kind of, that is what I think that this programme offers. Yeah. Compared to other programs, in the fact that they do have that individuality, and it is very much treated extremely important week in, week out, alongside their education. They certainly work hand in hand, that's for sure.
Do you still play football? And out of school when you get time?
No,
not really.
I retired. I was playing part-time for Truro for a little bit, not long ago. I kind of hit the point where I was like, I'm done. It was around the COVID time. COVID hit me, and I was like, well, stop embarrassing yourself. I'm done now.
You're meant to be this expert player. So if anyone wants to get in touch and start with the programme, or coming down to you, they can just get in touch via your website, via the Trinity details on the website.
Yeah, exactly that. Everything will be coming out in terms of our brochure and all the detail very soon. But more so, just get in contact with the school. Yeah. Because I'm sure, especially that we've got the board inside of it, which is, there's been a lot of interest in that. So we know we're going to have a high level of football programme. It's now reaching out to the local community and making them aware of, what's going to be on offer, and kind of the level of what's on offer to them, and progress from there.
Nice. It sounds really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing more about it as it develops, and hopefully chat to you again another time. I want to talk to Matt now as well, so we're going to get Matt in, because I want to learn more about how you work together as a team. As you've both got great football skills. So thanks very much. Thanks, Ryan, and we'll see you for another podcast soon. But let's get Matt in.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Matt, it's good to see you.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Good to see you again. I'm intrigued to learn a bit more about how you work with Ryan and your because you're going to be based in Devon and Tunbridge Wells, and going between the two and working together on it. Tell us about the process of what you're going to do.
Yeah, so for this year, obviously, my focus is still Beechwood. Yeah. I'm still there, I'm still coaching, ensuring our own coaching staff are up to speed with what we want. But I will be liaising, obviously, with Ryan and discussing what our needs are, what we want from the programme. We're fortunate to have Ryan on board. Yeah. He brings a lot of experience. Yeah. What he's good at is he believes in what we do, which is the individual development side of the game. And he's a nice person, which is important.
That always helps,
right? Yeah. You have to be approachable.
Of course,
with what we are trying to achieve and what we're trying to do, we have to be approachable. We've got to have that time to speak to parents, give them that one-to-one detail about their child, because ultimately they're paying to come into our football programme, and they're trusting us to develop their child. So that's really important for us, that we have the right person on board. Yeah. So.
And do you discuss coaching programs? I mean, that's all part of your training, but the best, and are they bespoke to certain groups of children or groups of people, or is it just a program that's across all of them?
So the ethos is what we built up last year. So the ethos is there. That's the individual development. We've got a whole training program in place, which is like a blueprint almost that we can take. Right. It doesn't mean it's set in stone, and we're not closed-minded. We're very open-minded. So if Ryan's got ideas and he comes to us and we think it works, we'll adjust and we'll change with it for sure. In terms of the program, how it works, I mean, we discussed this before. It's very individualized. So yes, we have our group sessions and our small group sessions, but they also have their individual sessions, right? And that's to develop their strengths and weaknesses as players. And that goes all the way from their physical to their mental to their technical and tactical development. Yeah. There's so much involved in it. Yeah.
And just quickly touching on Beechwood and how it's progressed, if we can, because I'm intrigued, because we did it the podcast about last time. What's been the successes there? How have you got to where you are?
I just think what we're offering is unique. I think the program spoke for itself. So every time we do a tour and we show them what we're doing, the video, it's quite refreshing for a lot of the parents. You know, for the odd few, it doesn't work because their child just wants to go and play football and play lots of games. But for those who've really got some serious intent in terms of maximising their potential, it's refreshing for the child and the parent. You know, all of a sudden they're getting this. I always say it's a professional academy experience they're gaining with us. We're a training hub. We've talked about them obviously getting their games externally. They will get the odd game with us, but they're actually getting a professional academy experience with us. And that's what they like, you know, and it's not impacting too much on their education, which is another tick in the box for the parent. So far it's been so well received, you know, it's a breath of fresh air for the parents, for sure.
What sort of, how many people come along? Is it the quantities of children that are actually enrolled on the programme?
Yeah, so Beechwood and Trinity will be the same. We'll have a limit. We're not a numbers game, right? We're not about saying we want hundreds of kids, keep bringing kids. We are selective in terms of the football side of the game. So there's a trial they have to partake in. And if they don't make the grade, then obviously we don't bring them in. And it's like I say to many parents, I've said it before, what I don't want is a group of kids where there's one kid picking his nose in the corner and I'm spending my time with him. So
it demotivates.
Yeah, it demotivates the rest of the squad. So it's important that they're all like-minded, they're all of a similar level, and that way it drives the group up and it creates that elite environment, which is really what we want. And so for Beechwood, it's like year 7 is 7 boys. Year 8, 7 boys. Year 7 girls is the same. So it's just that's the sort of the small numbers we're looking at. And that way it keeps the product.
And you can really concentrate on each person, can't you? And because it has to be a bit bespoke, I suppose. And that's really important. And you've obviously been down to Trinity. You've seen the facilities. You must be impressed with it. It's like to make a decision for it to happen.
Absolutely, the view is outstanding.
Is it?
Unbelievable. So. It's a safe environment, which is important, especially for the boarding side. Like you've got to be happy your kid's going somewhere. So it's very safe. In terms of the facilities, we'll build, like we have at Beechwood, a brand new strength and conditioning gym. So that will be built in the next couple of weeks. That should start up. We'll redo the pitches. We'll get all the brand new box goals. We'll put in a 4G, hopefully. So the facilities will be what we need. Just the same as Beechwood. Great facilities, great staff, great product.
Do you think, maybe I need to talk to Greg about this, you go to another one and do another one? Or plans about that?
Maybe one day. I think we got to get these right. What we don't want to do, and we've said it, is sometimes companies grow too quick, right? And then you lose and dilute the whole product.
Get too greedy.
And that's not what we're about. We want to maintain this product because ultimately that's what the children and the parents want. If they've got an elite product and we're not overcrowding it, like I said, it's small numbers. If we wanted to be greedy, we would be taking 20, 30 kids in each year growing group. But it's not what it's about for us. You know, we all need to earn a bit of money, of course, but ultimately we're also driven by developing players
and the success of it.
And that's how we judge our success. I've said that to you before. We don't judge our success on winning games. We judge our success on developing players to reach their full potential. Whether that's professional football, I don't know, American scholarship, Loughborough, or just playing a good level of football, and then maybe they want a career out in football. It might be S&C, they might want to be business in football, they might want to be a football coach. So we just help them get to where they want to go.
And also you support them afterwards as well. So once they leave the school, you can then call upon them, see how they're doing.
Exactly. They can speak to us. They speak to us all the time. Probably to our detriment, but our phones are always open and emails, so we
get WhatsApps at 5 in the morning.
Exactly, you'll get WhatsApps, emails at night. But again, to us, it's that personal touch, and that's what the parents want to be able to call you and speak to them because I've got children. I mean, if I could call someone up and just ask how my child's doing, my youngest loves music. If I could call the music teacher up and say how they doing. It's great. Exactly, and that's what we want to give.
Nice. Well, thanks, Matt. That's really cool. Really exciting to hear about Trinity and about what you're doing with it. And thanks, Ryan. Thanks for coming in, and thank you, Greg, as well, who's just popped out, I think. We'll hopefully do another podcast, maybe in 6, 7, or 8 months, and just so we can talk about how it's been going and the development of it. Because I'm really keen to see if anyone is interested. Obviously, get in touch with Matt, Greg, or Ryan. You can go to the Trinity website. Is it Trinity? What's the website for it?
Trinity School. They can find it on Google. I'm not too sure.
Okay, well, you can Google it. Trinity School.
Google, in Devon. And the brochure will be on there, so you'll be able to click on the brochure, and there'll be links there. Then to submit requests.
And I'll put all the details underneath this podcast. So, thank you once again, and we'll see you all for another podcast soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.